I am Great Mother, Holy Spirit, Yin, Divine Mother, Cosmic Womb, Deep Space, the Moon, Dark Matter, the Void, the Black Hole, Atar.
How is Mama Drama trauma different from other traumas? Trauma is a soul disassociation caused by an extreme experience of abandonment and/or abuse. The resulting trauma is perceived as an ever-present pain body triggered by external stimuli such as a memory, a person, or situation. As these activating factors are unavoidable, traumatized individuals self-medicate through addictions to chemical and mind-altering substances in an attempt to silence the stimuli and avoid the pain. MDT is different from other traumatic disorders because it is the mother of all trauma. For more information about Mama Drama Trauma, visit mamadramatrauma.info.
Hello, Libra, Virgo, Moon people. Welcome to your Great Mother Speaks reading. This is your new moon in Pisces reading. It's actually a Pisces Aries cusp, and it's right before the spring equinox. And so this is a reading that will bring to a close a lot of what has been happening in your life up to this point. If you're in the Southern Hemisphere, that means you're going to be harvesting and separating the wheat from the chaff for a long winter's night. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere, then that means that this reading is just before the spring equinox when you will be planting seed. And so this reading is very auspicious for you in terms of looking at what that seed is for you, what that harvest is for you before going into that next reading. And that will be a second quarter reading. You want to subscribe if you haven't already. The second quarter reading is going to be for April to June for your moon sign in Libra, Virgo. Libra, Virgo. Let's see what Great Mother is saying for you. As you plan for this new moon in Pisces Aries, you are actually moving in the direction of clearing up energy in your 7th and 8th houses. In the sidereal or the soul astrology, the new moon is in Aquarius. And so this is a new moon on a soul level that has to do with your unique soul genius. So after the long winter's night, so to speak, you're coming up. You're awakening slowly out of this winter's dream into the spring of your new soul expression and how you want to connect to others in the world. And where you are emotionally with that is you are really wanting to share yourself in new ways. We see here that you have recently just kind of come up since the recent full moon that we had in let me see, I think that was in Leo, kind of a Leo Virgo full moon that we had. You're coming up out of that having had some experiences wanting to ego soul align. And so we know that our ego communicates to the soul through its emotions. And so our emotions are how we feel. And that really does locate us in terms of our energetic body, how we are responding to the physical environment. It informs the soul. And the soul responds by downloading intuitive information. And so recently, since that full moon, Libra, Virgo, Moon people, you've been downloading a need to align those energies. And so now that we have this Aquarius Pisces new moon, it's an energy that is really hearkening back to that time when you started getting downloads that you really did want to understand what some intuitive messages were that were coming to you about how to do relationship. There's some new ways that you're wanting to do relationship now, and that you want to share mutuality with others, issues of reciprocity, and how you've done that in the past perhaps before this previous equinox period, so from the fall to the spring or from the spring to the fall, that 6 month period has really awakened you to new ways that you want to do relationship with people. And that came to the fore about 2 weeks ago in the full moon period. You might want to look at that full moon reading to get a clear indication about what that may have been about for you, because what we see is that presently you are centering and you are really kind of standing in that new reality, and you are getting a real sense of what that intuition is telling you and how you are going to move forward in your life with this intuition. And you are really wanting to make sure that as things come together for you, you're not leaving any stones unturned about this awareness. And so this is something that you're wanting to do. You're wanting to be reborn in terms of this. And so, for example, if you are married and you've gone through a period of disconnect, now over the last 6 months or so, since the past equinox, you have seen that there are some ways in which you can take responsibility for that disconnect and improve the relationship. You now know why your relationship went kind of off the road a little bit, and you can now steer and course correct, and you see how to do that. And at this particular time, you just want to be sure that you're not jumping the gun and overlooking maybe some responsibilities that your partner does still need to own. For example, sometimes when we do our inner work, we can have a tendency to be so involved in it because it is involving, that we can overlook what others have done. And we don't want to do that, because we know that that just takes us right back to where we started. And it's showing here that with this full moon, with the Gildeptus card, that you are really wanting to make sure that things are coming together as they should. And so this is what's harkening back to that full moon. These cards, the Great Mother Speaks Oracle deck, is based on the 49 scenes of the Wizard of Oz. And this is when Dorothy is trying to go home at the end and realizes that the balloon, I was going to say parachute, Oz's balloon is not going to work. They descend right back down to the ground, and she is really, really just wondering, how am I ever going to get home? And Glinda, symbolizing Great Mother, comes back to her and reminds her that she has the power and to click her heels 3 times. And so things come together for us many times in unexpected ways. Libra, Virgo moon people, and that's what's happening to you. Things are coming together for you in unexpected ways, and you realize that. It's just that you're wanting to make sure that as you align with that law of ego soul connection, trusting your gut, that you are centering yourself with that third eye awareness in such a way that you are clicking those heels, body, mind, soul, with the certainty that you need to move forward. You do acknowledge the fact that there has been some abandonment, perhaps some abuse issues in your relationship, in the example of a marriage gone awry, and you've taken responsibility for those things. You know that it takes 2 to tango. You know, one God, one law. You know, we are all having our own spiritual experience in physical form, and so none of us are above the other. We have unique experiences, but at the same time we want to connect in loving ways, and in order to do that, we do have to tell ourselves the truth. This is a root chakra balsamic moon card that has to do with the reflection, the rest, and recuperation that's needed for us to do a thorough acknowledgement of what's going on in our lives. And that is where you are right now, Libra, Virgo moon people. You are acknowledging where you are in your life. You want to double check the links below to confirm that your sidereal sign is in Libra, and watch that video to see which message resonates with you most. You may resonate more with your soul message than the ego astrology message of Virgo, and vice versa. Some of you may have Virgo as your sidereal sign as well. You do expect there to be some issues that still need to be addressed with regard to the example in your marriage. Your mate does still need to address some areas, for example, in which they have wronged you. It may be in a workplace situation. It may be in a situation where you are partnering with someone in a business, and yes, there has been a mistake or a major loss or something of that nature, or you're planning something together, but the resources aren't coming together the way that you want to. Something is at a crossroads, and you have done your work in acknowledging what you need to do to move forward, but the other party does need to do the same. This is a root chakra new moon card, and that root chakra new moon is speaking to this new moon in Pisces. The emotions are coming up, and they're telling you that in order for you to feel safe and secure, Libra Virgo moon people, there does need to be an acknowledgement of some type of abandonment again, or some type of mistreatment again, for you to acknowledge in your moving forward. Now, of course, we know this is never about judgment or condemnation to acknowledge a feeling of abandonment or abuse, because we know that from our ego experience, and ego meaning our biography, the story of our life, we have a perception of an event that is unique to us based on our experience, our biography. And so it's important that in knowing that, we can open ourselves up to the experience and the perception of others, which is what you're certainly willing to do. You're willing to be open. And that's exactly where you are right now, Libra Virgo moon people. You're very open to it, even though it's a little scary. This is the heart chakra waning gibbous moon card. Waning gibbous is that sharing and that thanksgiving. You do have the awareness of the, and you're acknowledging how you feel about this situation. But just like in this scene in the Wizard of Oz, which is what these cards are based on, the 49 scenes of the Wizard of Oz, the gods and goddesses, which we are as children of the Great Mother, Father, God, the chakras, how we do vibrate and connect with our soul energetically, and the lunar cycles, how we connect with Great Mother energy. So the heart chakra here is that crossroads between the ego and the soul in this sharing and thanksgiving, in the scene in which the three ask their wishes, and Oz tells them they must bring the broom back, and the lion promptly jumps out of the castle window. He's so afraid, but he still goes, doesn't he? So even though that might be something a little that you have trepidation acknowledging about the other person in this relationship, the reciprocity in the relationship not being where it needs to be, the mutuality not really, it doesn't feel right. You know, you keep on thinking that something's missing, that they could give more than what you're giving. And it's a little scary to acknowledge it, but in your heart of hearts, you know, intuitively, you know that you want to do relationship a little differently, don't you? And even though it's scary, you're still going to do it. And Great Mother is saying that the hidden influence in all of this is that when you go to ask Oz your wishes, okay, here is his throne and the heart chakra card. Looking at that full moon video, again, might be very helpful for you to see what she was saying to you at that time about what needed to be purified in your life. New moons are about planting new seeds and wishes going forward in the new lunar cycle. Full moons give us a report about where we are and those wishes coming to culmination. And so a month ago, you had a new moon wish. And just as when the three went before his throne with their wishes, they didn't realize they were already well. They already had what they were wishing for, didn't they? They just had to go on a journey to find out for themselves. And so what Great Mother is saying is that that is what you've come to realize. You have come to realize in the recent past that there is something that your soul has been intuitively wanting to download and share with you about being in alignment, and this is it. That all is well, that you're already there, that things are already working out as they should, and that is a hidden influence in your life. That is why you are open. You don't quite know why you're open to this journey, but that is why. Is on a soul level, you know that all is well, even though it might be a little challenging, and you might be feeling a little uprooted from going forward with the communication that needs to happen. So when you're looking at that, and when we're seeing the center of your reading as the Ankh, we see that the Law card of ego form and manifestation is what this is all about for you, Libra, Virgo, Moon people. It's all about this double yin energy of really downloading that intuitive voice, that intuitive knowing, that wisdom, and acting on it. This is a third quarter moon as well, that release, that letting go. So letting go of those fears and apprehensions about knowing what you know, and that all is well. And just acting on that. This is the law of ego form. And so you have come into crystallized manifestation in order to manifest what your highest and truest desires are in relationship. That 7th house energy where Pisces is right now, and that Aries energy on the cusp, and your 8th house of intimacy and bonding, that is what indicates that it's probably a closer relationship than a professional business relationship, unless it's like a business partnership that's based on a very intimate background. That's why I use the relationship of a marriage as an example. It's you are wanting to be reborn in how you are sharing your life and communicating your life with a person. If it's not the same person, you're wanting to move forward in your life anew, clicking your heels 3 times and returning home to you so that the new you is manifested in a more awakened form. This awakened form really does hearken to that crescent moon, doesn't it? Because right after the new moon, we do have a crescent moon, that planting moon. After we've made our plans and made our wishes, we begin to plant the seed. And so that's what's coming up in our next new moon phase. But what you really want to see here is that as you are planning, that seed for you has to do with this awakening. It has to do with letting go of those apprehensions of what the reality is for you in real time now. In the past, there may have been some questions about, okay, intuitively, do I really need to align with what I know needs to be expressed as what I need in a relationship, or do I just need to let it go? And now actually awakening to the reality of, yes, I need to trust my gut. This is gut chakra card. Okay, and the gut chakra cards have that antenna running through them that connects with the third eye. So you already have 2 gut chakra cards, okay? Pele Awakening. This is when Dorothy is introduced to Glinda the Good Witch. And so Great Mother, for those of you who are watching the first time, welcome. You're being introduced to her. And this antenna that runs through your gut is that ego connecting with your soul. That connection there. Okay? And so that's the alignment that's being spoken of here. Learning to live the law. And the Moses card. Moses led the people, the Israelites, out of Egypt, out of slavery. And that's what you're doing. You are leading yourself, actively acting on your intuitive downloads to manifest the freedom in your life by letting go of the question that Glinda asked her. What did she ask her? The Munchkins want to know, are you a good witch or a bad witch? To which Dorothy replied, I'm not a witch at all. I'm Dorothy from Kansas. Dorothy from Kansas. Dorothy from Kansas. Now, what is it that she was needing to let go of at that time? If you think about it, what was she needing to let go of at that time when Glinda was asking her that question? Might want to think about that as we continue with the reading here. She was needing to let go of something in order for her to answer that question. And perhaps that's what the journey was all about, is the release of her resistance to answering that question. Because if we don't know who we are, we have to find out, don't we? In order to awaken. And so that is what you're doing. You're finding out. You are awakening, shedding light on, who you truly are. And the Munchkins wanted to know. The Munchkins are half-sized people at about the height of the gut. And so trusting your gut, and if she had been at a point where she could really own what she knew that she was a good witch. But things have to come in their own time of understanding, don't they? Their own time of understanding. Well, Great Mother's advice to you is that underneath all of this, there is a great deal of rage. And rage is an emotion of suppressed anger. So what we don't recognize when we don't have our lunar awareness, what's going on in our moon sign, is that oftentimes we're walking around carrying energies. And so this may come as a surprise to you, which it often does when this card appears in a Great Mother Speaks reading, so don't be surprised. But it's an important thing to recognize, because what rage is, for many of us, is a righteous indignation about someone not recognizing our intuition. And that someone is usually ourselves. But as we see in this scene of The Wizard of Oz, when Miss Gulch is attempting to take Toto, the rage that Dorothy is expressing in this scene, she's standing up for herself. Toto represents Dorothy's intuition in the Great Mother Speaks Oracle deck. And so no, she's not allowing Miss Gulch to take it. And she is not allowing it even in the face of Uncle Henry and Aunt Em, who are powerless to stop her. So she's not allowing herself to be uprooted by someone taking her intuition. How can someone take your intuition? Well, this is a waxing gibbous moon card. That's editing, refining, reevaluating, revising. Many times when we are going through something such as what you're going through right now, Libra, Virgo, Moon people, we are changing ourselves, aren't we? We're changing how we see things. We're changing our relationships. And heck, this Aries cusp is in your 8th house of intimacy and bonding, other people's property. That's a transition. Usually someone has died. You've received an inheritance, and there's a disconnect with how this transition, this revision of life, is being dealt out in your relationships. And so with this Jupiter in your 3rd house, what we're seeing is that there is an undercurrent of rage and frustration about that. That's totally understandable. How is someone taking your intuition? Is by you stating and communicating what your needs are, but being ignored, being belittled, okay, being perceived as childish because you are stating your needs. This is why Dorothy is the poster child of Mama Drama Trauma. And for you, Great Mother is saying that that is exactly what you're doing. You're standing up for yourself. And that's often what happens in cases of Mama Drama Trauma. The child is trying to say something's not right here. You know, I'm not being treated right, or this is what I've seen and this is what I've noticed, and didn't this happen? And the child is being ignored, being belittled, okay, etc., etc., etc. And so that is how someone takes your intuition away. Okay, and that is why many times we cultivate a habit of ignoring it ourselves, because we feel like, oh, well, nobody else is going to acknowledge it. What's the point of me acknowledging it, type of thing. And so this is where the acknowledgement card of the abandonment and abuse comes into play, because what happens here establishes a pattern. in our lives of doing it. And Great Mother comes up and she says, it's time to acknowledge that you are feeling that uprootedness again. You have quite a few root chakra cards here. Root chakra balsamic moon, root chakra waxing gibbous revising, root chakra new moon. We're in the new moon of Pisces, cusp Aries now, Aquarius in the sidereal. Okay, first scene of the film when Miss Gulch chases Dorothy and Toto off of her property. And so these feelings of insecurity as a result of trusting that you are centering and aligning your gut with that higher knowing that things are coming together for you is causing a bit of trepidation, kind of wanting to jump out the window. Okay, but you're working with it, Libra Virgo moon people. You're working with it and you're moving on despite it, and it may be a very subtle thing, and that's why lunar readings aren't often done, and they're certainly not often done well, because these are very subtle energies. They're not they don't have the exactitude of it's going to be this and it's going to do that, because it's a very amorphous field of energy that is activated by these cosmic energies, and Great Mother directs us to where they are supportive for us and what to focus on. They are supportive for you in relationships right now. You have Jupiter in your house of communication, and so it's going to help you communicate in relationships, and so you're going to get that direction. But what you do with it specifically and what specific situation it is, it's pointing to an intimate situation. It may or may not be. In your immediate future, as a result of all this work that you are doing with this awareness of communication needing to happen in your relationships, your intimate relationships specifically, is you're owning your beauty. This is when Dorothy does take the broom back to Oz's castle and say, here's the broom, we got it. The broom is your beauty. Taking your power back from that disequilibrium, that imbalance. Just taking your power back and saying, hey, this is what needs to happen for this relationship to be right for me, for it to feel right for me. Okay? Speaking that, this is fifth chakra, waning gibbous moon, sharing in Thanksgiving. So sharing that intuitive knowing and sharing what you know to be right and to be good for you at this time. By embodying your personal power, okay, that personal power that you have in your gut, that instinctual, that visceral response, that's how you knew that your intuition was giving you something. You were feeling it in your gut, but you were in the process about a month ago of aligning with it. You have aligned with it. You are working with it. There are some feelings of rage and frustration about the process, but guess what? Just like here, when Glenda gave Dorothy the shoes, and the witch, no sooner as she had them on, was trying to take them from her in the darkness here, we have here in this waxing gibbous moon, again, revising, editing. You're changing your life. 6 months ago, you weren't at this place. But guess what? You're embodying this energy now. And if you're not, this new moon in Pisces Aries is a wonderful time to establish new moon wishes that give you the energy, that give you the galvanized unction to move forward with this supportive energy. And so some new moon wishes for you might be something like, I want the tendency to deflect my true intuitional knowledge totally lifted from me. Or I want my intuition fully activated. I want to feel the inner joy of trusting my psychic sensitivity. Powerful wishes like that amplify the higher Piscean energies to help you to truly manifest what your ego form is here to do in terms of enjoying its intimate relationships. From doing that, what Great Mother is saying is that by the full moon, you are going to have evidence of your selfhood. This fifth chakra full moon card is all about that. In fact, this is when the witch is dissolved by the bucket of water that Dorothy accidentally spills on her. She didn't know that the witch had to be sacrificed in order for her to have a broom to take home, in order for her to own her beauty. The witch had to be sacrificed, didn't she? Because she was not going to give up. She was not going to give up. And so what has to be sacrificed for you? What has to be given up? This fear of acknowledging how you truly feel. Okay? Awakening yourself to the fact that you are good. Your intentions aren't bad. You just want to fully express yourself, which you have a complete and utter right to do, as you were manifested to do when you were conceived of in your soul. Okay? So this is a beautiful reading coming together for you, Libra, Virgo, Moon people, about the communication that's needing to happen in a personal relationship that may be very frustrating for you right now, but that you have been working through. You have been acknowledging this communication needs to take place. It's been very challenging for you. The Great Mother's coming through with a very beautiful confirming message for you to let you know that even though this seems completely out of whack, completely, maybe in some cases out of order, that this communication even has to occur at all, that the law of mystery and divine order is in full effect for you in your life. The Akhenaten card is a law card that is the single yang card that has to do with acting on what you know. It absolutely may not make sense in the rational, linear, solar, physical, material world. But within you, just as the great king Akhenaten, Pharaoh, knew, he had to institute the worship of the one God. He was the first ruler on the planet to do so. It was very unpopular. He had to leave, the kingdom, and had to go and create a whole different kingdom. Had to leave Thebes to go to Amarna. Hundreds of miles away, because the scribes were just not happy. And who are the scribes in our lives? The one who makes the rules about what's right and what's wrong, what you should do, what you shouldn't do. You have to come through me to get to God and all this kind of stuff. When in actuality, the law of mystery and divine order says that we're already there. All we have to do is act on that awareness. Root chakra. We're already grounded in that knowing. We're already grounded in that awareness. We just have to act on it. That's all. Third quarter moon is releasing and letting go. And so you have releasing and letting go of anything that keeps you from manifesting the law of ego form and manifestation, which for you is a gifting for you to experience your beauty in relationship with others. And that is a beautiful message, because the outcome for you is reward. Reward. You're going to be rewarded, Libra, Virgo, Moon people, hugely in unexpected ways. So by the full moon, this full moon, or by the next full moon in Libra, okay, you're going to, wow. Is it going to be this full moon in Libra? Wow, okay. So some of you, maybe since the last full moon in Leo Libra, there were some rewards that you had as a result of aligning with your soul, ego soul alignment. And this reading is a confirmation of what you've been through since then. And for others, with this full moon coming up in Libra, and I say Libra because that is the 7th house, and this is 7th house energy for you. Libra is your sidereal soul sign. So I'm feeling that Libra coming up. And Also, when the sun is in Libra is when the fall equinox is coming up. So that's 6 months from now. And so I'm seeing with this third eye, this soul, again, the soul astrology, your sidereal. I'm seeing this inner knowledge of things coming together and trusting that coming up as a tremendous reward for you. Okay, this is the waxing gibbous moon phase, which is right before the full moon. Again, an indication that full moon period is very pronounced for you. And if not this full moon, definitely by the harvest full moon. And that harvest full moon for you in Pisces will be a tremendous reward. It will be after the end of this eclipse season, which for you has had to do with a lot of 12th house energy. You've been clearing out a lot in terms of how you're expressing yourself, which is why it's not a surprise with Jupiter in your third house. You're being reborn in that. Leo is in the north node, okay? And so with the eclipses, we're talking about the nodes. The north node is where the soul, the collective soul is going. So our collective soul on the planet, planetarily, is going toward Leo energies. And so we see here Ra, the sun. Leo is ruled by the sun. And when the sun is in Libra, that's the harvest season. That moon will be in Pisces. That full moon. Okay, and so we have this energy returning again if you're not feeling that reward within this month, is what I'm saying. The law of the primordial father is the card in the Wizard of Oz when the three are rewarded in ways they did not expect. But things came together. The scarecrow wanted a brain, he got a diploma instead. The lion wanted courage, he got a medal instead. The Tin Man wanted a heart, and he also received a reward. And so you will be rewarded in unexpected ways by doing this tremendous inner work to revise, edit, shift, course correct how you have been seeing yourself and doing your relationships in the past to a new way that truly honors your own beauty in the law of ego form and manifestation. Thank you so much for watching, sharing, and liking. This is such a beautiful, beautiful reading for you. And I hope that was helpful for you, especially as you do conclude this eclipse season over the next 6 months in terms of how you have been cleaning house with your self-expression. I'm seeing a very beautiful Libra, Virgo, emotional, intuitive state emerge for you. I'm seeing a tremendous amount of work that has been done for those of you watching this video in these areas, and Great Mother coming through for you and saying bravo. Bravo. Okay, that is your reading for this Pisces Aries new moon. Be blessed, and as always, remember Great Mother loves you, and I do too.